Hi, thanks for coming and visiting. During this time of quarantine, which also happens to be during the time of Lent, I thought that I would share some of the Godly Play stories that are the faces of Easter. There's 7 of them, and I'll be recording 4 on the first video and 3 on the second. At the end of each story, there's a time where you can press pause and I tell you to do some things. So just press pause and you can either come back another time for the next story, or you can just press pause, do what I ask you to do, and stay with me for the second story. So let's get started. In the beginning, the baby was born. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. Listen carefully. Listen to the words. God chose Mary to be the mother of God, and the Word was born, a wordless child. When the baby looked up at the face of Mother Mary, he already saw a cross. When he looked into the face of the father Joseph, the cross was there too. The mother Mary and the father Joseph held the baby close. They kept the baby warm. They gave the baby everything the baby needed to grow, and it began to grow. Now, I wonder if there's anything in your home, or if you can think of anything in our Godly Playroom that would remind you of this story. Press pause, find those things in your home, or talk about those things in our Godly Play classroom that remind you of this story. Go ahead and press pause and then come back when you're ready. The baby grew and became a boy. When he was about 12 years old, he went to the mother Mary and the father Joseph, and with many other people from the village of Nazareth, to the great city of Jerusalem, to keep one of the high holy days. When the celebration was over, the people from Nazareth went out through the great high gate and started on the road toward home. Suddenly, Mary and Joseph discovered that Jesus was not there. They thought he had been playing with the other children from their village as they walked together. They hurried back into the great city of Jerusalem to find him. Mary and Joseph looked in the dark and narrow streets. They looked in the marketplace where they had bought their food. They looked where they had spent the night. They looked everywhere. Finally, they even looked in the temple, and there he was. He was talking to the rabbis, the priests. When he spoke, they listened because he knew so much. When they spoke, he listened because he wanted to learn more. Mary and Joseph then asked Jesus the question that all parents ask their children, the question you can never answer. Why did you do this? And Jesus said something very strange. He said, "Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" Mary and Joseph did not understand. Their house was in Nazareth, where Joseph's carpentry shop was. They did not understand, but they did not forget. Now, I wonder if there's anything in your home or anything that you can think of from our Godly Play classroom that remind you of this story. Press pause, find those things in your home, or talk with your family about those things in our Godly Play classrooms or around our community that remind you of this story. And then press play when you're ready. And our third face of Jesus, Jesus grew and became a man. When he was about 30 years old, he went to the River Jordan, where his cousin John was baptizing people. Do you see John? You can just see the back of his head. He was a wild man. Jesus waded up the river until he was face to face with John. He said, "Baptize me." John looked at Jesus as if for the first time. Now he saw who he really was. "How can I baptize you? You are the Messiah, the one we have been waiting for. You must baptize me." "No, it is written that you will come before me and prepare the way. Baptize me." Jesus went down into the darkness and the chaos of the water. When John lifted him back up into the sky, there were people there who said that they saw a dove come down from heaven and come close to him. There were also people there that day who heard a voice. The voice said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." After Jesus was baptized, he went on across the River Jordan into the desert. He stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights to learn more about who he was and what his work was going to be. I wonder if there is anything in your home or anything you can think of from our Godly Playroom that reminds you of this story. Press pause, talk with your family, or find those things around your home. And then, when you're ready, press play. In our fourth face of Easter, Jesus went into the desert to discover more about who he was and what his work was going to be. He was there for 40 days and 40 nights. There was little to eat or to drink. One day he heard a voice. It said, "Why don't you turn one of those stones over there into bread and have something to eat?" Jesus said, "No. To be a real human being, we need more than just bread to eat." Suddenly, it was as if Jesus were on top of the great temple in Jerusalem. The voice came back, "If you are really the Son of God, why don't you just jump and see if God sends the angels to catch you before you hit the stones below?" Jesus said, "No, we do not need to test God." Then, it was as if Jesus could see all the kingdoms of the world. The voice came back again. "If you will follow me, I will make you king over all these kingdoms." Jesus said, "No, I am to be a king, but not that kind of king." Then the voice went away. Jesus went back across the Jordan and began to do his work. But what was his work? Now, I wonder if there's anything in your home or anything you can think of from our Godly Play classroom that remind you of this story. Our video's over for now, but share with your family what you can think of. Also, I'm going to post in Facebook the video, and you can tell us what are those things that remind you of these four faces of Easter. Thanks for joining me, and be well.